Somebody else kind of count us down over there.
You want the American dream. You want the life, the liberty, the happiness. But until you get there, until you achieve your goals and make your dreams come true, you know what you have. You have the journey, the hustle, the climb. I'm Kelsey Humphreys, and this is The Pursuit.
Today you're joining me in Nashville, Tennessee, which is just as beautiful and friendly as you think it is. Yes, everyone does play an instrument. Over 50% of people, when surveyed, describe themselves as, quote, very religious. And every other person right now is indeed wearing cowboy boots. Doesn't matter the outfit, jeans, sweatpants, they're wearing them. But some unexpected things about Nashville, Tennessee are things like in the middle of town, there is a full-scale replica of the Parthenon, including inside a statue of Athena herself, which is the biggest indoor statue in the Western Hemisphere. Because nothing makes you think of Greek mythology like Nashville, Tennessee. And it's also the birthplace of things like Snickers and cotton candy, and as much as Nashville wants us to forget it, Miley Cyrus. But making up for Miley are some of today's best business minds like Dave Ramsey and Michael Hyatt, and perhaps Tommy Garman, who actually makes a living by driving tourists around the town, letting them gawk out the windows of his big white van at celebrity homes. I kid you not, this is a real business. He says on his website that he has the newest buses, newest equipment, and quote, best air conditioning. This is a real thing. If that's not an entrepreneur, I don't know what is. Today I'm excited to talk to one such creative entrepreneur, Crystal Paine. Crystal Paine is a consultant, speaker, and the founder of MoneySavingMom.com, which she has grown since 2007 to be one of the top personal finance blogs on the web, averaging 1.5 million unique visitors per month, you guys. She is the author of Say Goodbye to Survival Mode and Restore Your Passion for Life. And in addition to running her own business and being a wife and mom, she serves as a consultant to executives and business owners in the areas of brand development, online growth, and social media strategy, which makes total sense because she has over 750,000 Facebook fans. Oh my goodness. Crystal, thank you so much for letting us come into your beautiful home and talk today.
Thanks so much for having me, and that was too kind of an introduction.
It's all true, you guys.
I wish you could have seen me 10 years ago, and I think that's so much of the time you hear those numbers and it just feels so overwhelming. And I want people to see that little basement apartment that my husband and I were living in, and that trying so hard to make $2 a day off of the online business, because I think we forget that when we hear these big numbers and it sounds so overwhelming and like we can't do it.
Well, that's perfect. Let's go back there. Let's talk at the backstory, as I understand it, is that you were blogging just about your life, and then you started talking about your grocery bill, and people realized, whoa, you are not spending very much on groceries. And that's when you started to talk about your financial decisions and couponing, and things exploded. Is that right?
Well, so I started, so my husband and I got married 12 years ago, and we had committed to stay out of debt while he went through law school. And so I was working as mother's helper and doing these things and earning this good part-time income, and then found out one day that I was pregnant, which we were very excited about, but then realized that, I can't work anymore because I was so sick. And so I spent 3 months just paving a path from the bed to the bathroom and back, and laying in the bed saying, what am I going to do? Because we need that income, and there's no way that we're going to be able to survive without that income. And so that fueled me to say, I have got to find a way to earn an income from home. And so I just researched and researched and researched, fell into a lot of different things that were back then, kind of popular, and heard about this thing called blogging, which was so new in 2005. And so I started this little mommy blog, and people started coming and reading. First it was 12 people a day, and then 15 people a day, and pretty soon, I remember the day that I think it was like a year and a half in, and I had 500 people that came to this, and I just thought, oh my goodness, this is crazy. And like, why are people coming and reading? And so I kept blogging on that blog, and then one day, offhand comment, I said something about buying all the groceries for $17 that week. It was literally like just a little comment in a blog post, and people said, how are you doing that? And so I realized that I had this skill that people wanted to know how to do, and it was really because my mom, growing up, I was homeschooled, and for part of my home ec was for 2 years to do all the menu planning, the grocery shopping, and the cooking for our family of 9. Ooh. So that was real life hands-on experience.
Yeah,
and so I went into marriage with that skill that my mom had really given to me. And so started teaching people. I did this series on that blog on supermarket savings, and people were hungry for this information. And so I kept blogging on frugal living and saving money, and people just said, we want more. And so no one was out there blogging about the deals at CVS and how to use coupons. There were frugal blogs, but there weren't blogs that were actually showing you how to go to the store and get stuff for free.
Gotcha.
And so I was matching it up for myself and my friends, these coupons and deals, and I thought, I should start a blog. And so prayed about it, thought about it, talked to my husband, and so in 2007 we started Money Saving Mom. So it was kind of one of those right place, right time, where 2 years of having this online business, learning the blogging, the ropes of blogging, figuring out a lot of things that didn't work. I tried my hand on a lot of things in those 2 years and saw very little fruit for 2 years. But because I built up to the place where I had this small following and had, kind of established myself as this expert in my field, and people had seen my grocery shopping trips, then when I started Money Saving Mom, the economy was tanking, coupons were coming in vogue, and the news people were saying, you need to use coupons, that's a way to save money. So people get on their computer and search how to use coupons, and so they come to Money Saving Mom. And so really those 2 years of blogging on that other blog and learning everything were the foundation for then in 2007 when I started Money Saving Mom. It really took off quickly because of that.
So let's talk about those 2 years then. How did you strategically get, when you noticed, I had 500 viewers, did you change things? Did you start to make a strategy to grow at that point before moneysavingmom.com?
I think it was a matter of I just tried a whole lot of things because I was really desperate. I mean, we needed to, when you need to put a roof over your head and food on the table, and your husband's in law school, and you have this child now, you get creative. Yeah. So I read a lot of books. I read a lot of blogs in that, and watched what other people were doing. And I think that was a big thing for me there wasn't really anybody that was doing what I was doing, so I found other people who were in other fields and they were doing it successfully, and then I said, what are they doing, and how can I implement that in a way that works for my blog? But it was also, I worked every day. I remember I would take my shower and I would think, what can I do to bring a little bit of traffic to the blog today? And so that would be, I wrote a lot of articles for sites and other blogs. I would comment on a lot of blogs. I networked with other bloggers. There wasn't Twitter and Facebook then. Right. So we had to get creative. And it was just these little streams of traffic. And those little streams turned into, eventually a river that then turned into this raging torrent. But you had to go after those little streams. And I think so much of the time we, look at that little trickle and we think, well, that's not worth my time. But when you're first starting, those little trickles. For instance, I'm speaking at a conference this summer. It's this large homeschooling conference that is very well attended, and they sell lots of product, and it's an honor to be asked to speak there. That was because I wrote an article and connected with somebody way back when, and she, was like that visitor that came to my site, and they promoted me over and over and over again. Eventually I've spoken at their conference before, I'm speaking again. And so going after those little trickles, even though it feels like I want the big wins, start with those little small wins and go after that, because the small wins often turn into the big wins.
So important. That is awesome advice. Go after the small wins. In those first couple years when you were doing a lot of research, you said that you read a lot of blogs and got a lot of advice. Do you have sites that you recommend for beginners to read and research about blogging and about growing at the beginning? I follow some bloggers that probably people have never heard of before, but I will be so inspired by them. And so there's this one gal, her site is momsbyheart.net, and she's got a good readership, but I have learned so much from just watching what she is doing, and their family is now traveling the country in this RV, and they're road schooling, but I've just been so inspired by her. She's been blogging for a long time, and she's always thinking outside the box, and her site is just beautiful. And so I will oftentimes find those smaller sites
that are doing a really good job, and I'll say, what are they doing? And then I look at the larger ones as well, you know, something like a large site like michaelhyatt.com, or you know, even like Huffington Post or something. You know, you look at these sites that are really engaging their audience, and you say, what are they doing well? And I don't need to do what they're doing, but I can get ideas from them that might work for me.
And you mentioned the big wins. What was a big win for you? What did you think? What was like a first big, like, oh, this is happening moment?
I'm trying to think, it would have been probably 3 years in. I had started My Saving Mom, and I had written this ebook on supermarket savings, and so many people had been interested in that ebook that then I turned that into an online course, which back in the day is very different than what we consider to be an online course today. But it was this audio that I had recorded on a free recording software in this forum that was a free forum, and this PDF download that I made with free software. And so I sold that as a bundle, and did this huge price reduction thing when my husband was out of work. And so this was 3 or 3.5 years in, and I remember that moment of we did this 3-day sale, and we made $3,000, and it was mind-blowing for me to realize that 3.5 years of working so hard, and my husband's out of work, and it all paid off because we built up a strong email list, we built up networks with other people, and they were promoting it for us. And so I just remember that moment of thinking, oh wow, this actually could work.
I know something a lot of people would consider a big win is getting advertisers. What was that like at the beginning when advertisers first approached you? How did you know what to do and what to charge and who was a good fit and that sort of thing?
I think that one of my big things is always putting my readers first. And so I vet everything through the lens of, is this a win for my readers? And so I turn down thousands and thousands of dollars every single year because it's not a win for my readers. So when the advertisers started coming, which was very small at first, I mean just a few leads at first, and I didn't know what to charge, but I would just think, what I feel like was fair, and then looking at my traffic and looking at how many thousand page views would I get per month, and then usually you're going to charge them somewhere between $1 and $3 per thousand page views. And so look at that, and I started out at 50 cents. And then I gradually raised the price as the demand increased. So that was one thing I always tell new bloggers: if you want to get advertisers, first really work on the content and build up your readership. Don't go chasing after advertisers. Build up your readership, build up that base, build up the content, build up your brand. And then once you've done that, then you can let people know that you're offering advertising. Because a lot of times people have this tiny little thing that says advertise here, and people need to know that it's available. I always say you have to put it like right in the middle of their forehead for them to even consider that it's an option. So write a blog post and say, I'm offering this special, and give them a really inexpensive rate, and put together a package deal. I'm very big on, don't just give them a sidebar ad, give them a giveaway, and give them something on Facebook and Twitter and Pinterest, and put together a really comprehensive package that gives them a lot of different things for a very great price. And start out with something like that, and then as the demand increases, you can increase your price.
I know a lot of people right now, and just with online marketing and social, being an expert marketing and all this stuff, people don't want to seem salesy. So how did you get past that feeling? Like, people don't want to post I'm taking sponsorships post because they feel like a salesperson. How did you balance that with what your readers, did your readers get mad, or did they even notice, or, how did you not feel, sleazy or anything like that?
You're always going to disappoint some people. And you have to decide who you're going to disappoint. And so I think that's been a big thing for me, of deciding that I am going to disappoint people who believe that an entrepreneur should never earn money. Because there are people out there that believe that.
They're crazy.
And so I'm going to
excuse me,
disappoint them.
I would like to make money, and I believe Crystal would like to make money. If you're watching this, so I hope that you also want to make money.
So I'm going to disappoint them. But then also, thinking, okay, so what is a win for my readers? And so can I stand behind this company 100%, 150%, because it's my name and my integrity on the line. Just last night, a company that I love dearly and have worked very closely with, I we were doing a deal together, and they, I misunderstood the terms of the deal, and after I posted it, they wrote me back and they said, I'm really sorry, but it's actually this. And I wrote them back last night and said, I'm going to have to pull the post because that is not a good enough deal for my readers. And so that was really hard for me because I have this great relationship, and I hated to feel like I was, you know, just kind of in your face saying, I can't post that, I have to pull the post. But then this morning, they came back and they said, okay, we're going to go ahead with the initial deal that you thought it was. And I said, I'm happy to take a pay cut because it was my misunderstanding. But so always thinking of your readers first, because there are plenty of opportunities to earn a quick buck and lose your integrity.
Oh, that's good. That'll preach, y'all. Okay, so let's talk about right now, looking back over this journey where, you know, there you were 2 years plodding along, and now, you know, 1.5 million unique views per month. What has been the best part of that journey and the worst part?
The best part of the journey is the community that I have. I love my community. Last year I decided that I was going to go offline for a few days, completely offline. I usually am never offline except for on Sundays. And I went offline for 3 days, and I missed my community. I love these people. Some of them have been reading my blog for 8 years, and you know, I've gotten to know them. I've seen their kids grow, and you know, they're like my next door neighbors almost, because we have so much interaction. So I love my community, so that's been a wonderful thing. And the other thing for me has been blogging has really, for me personally, it's broken me and it's healed me. And so I was a very insecure, very shy, very just person who felt like I wasn't good enough. And blogging brought all of that to the surface and showed me all those broken places in my heart, and then allowed God to really work in my heart and heal me and give me that security of who I am in Christ. And so blogging has grown me so much as a person, and just to see my journey and to look back and see the person I was 10 years ago and the person that I am today, and the confidence that I have in Christ as a result of the things that I've learned from blogging. So, and that would be the huge blessing that's come from it. And there's a lot of hard things. I think that it's hard when you put yourself out there, because you are going to disappoint people, and it's hard to receive criticism and to receive critique and to receive negative comments. That's hard. And to know that you are going to disappoint people. And it's also, I think, another hard thing for me has been relationships, because when you're blogging and people read your blog, they expect you to be a kind of person, and so when they meet you in real life, then they put you up on this pedestal, and because they don't remember that blogging is just this little sliver of who you are as a person, and so they meet you in real life and they have these expectations, and then of course you dash those expectations, and so that's another thing that's been hard.
For the record, you have totally met and exceeded all of my expectations. So, you know, in this journey, back then and now, what are some tools that you use every day, your must-haves for your business, and maybe personally, but especially, you know, for that blogger? What are your must-have go-to tools?
I disappoint a lot of people in the fact that I'm not techie. I'm not techie, and people always think that's hilarious, and I'm like, no, it's true. If I can be a blogger, anybody can be a blogger, because my tools are pen and paper and Google Calendar, and that is literally, those are the things that I live by. And so my Google Calendar is my brain, and I brain dump everything in there, and so I put all day events for anything that comes into my head of, I need to remember to write that post or call that person or email that person, or you know, whatever it is to do with those little tasks. I put them as all day events and just assign them to a day when I know that, you know, they're available, and then I can move them around. And then the night before I go to bed, at night, I will write out a to-do list for the next day based upon those all-day tasks, and I time block my day, so it'll be, you know, at 5:30 in the morning I'm going to do this, 6 o'clock I'm going to do this, and I write out a new time block schedule for every day, because every day is different as an entrepreneur. And then the other thing that I do is, a lot of times in the middle of the day, I rewrite the schedule, which seems like a lot of work, but I found that so many entrepreneurs are, there's so much bling and crazy out there, and you can get so distracted by it. And so to really have that focus on paper of, this is what I'm going to do in my computer time, and it's very prioritized and written down, then when, you know, the interruptions come, then I will rip that paper up halfway through the day and rewrite it out for the most urgent and the largest priorities. But doing that has been extremely helpful to me. And this is not really a tool, but this is something that has been very helpful to me, is to shut off the noise. So I don't follow very many blogs, and a lot of times I don't really pay attention to what's going on outside of my community, because I will never be good enough compared to any of the other bloggers or online entrepreneurs. I'm a wife and I'm a mom, and that comes first in my heart. And so I could stay up all hours of the night, you know, doing these amazing things and lose my family. And I don't want to look back in 25 years and be like, I've lost my family for the sake of this online empire or whatever. And that's just not worth it to me. And so really looking at everything that I do and think, what is going to matter in 25 years from now? And focusing on just those few things and being okay with that there's a lot of other things that I'm not going to do.
Now, what about social media? Because you have 750,000 Facebook fans, and I can't remember, a bazillion Twitter followers as well. Do you have tools and strategy for that?
I have a very detailed strategy for Facebook that is all up here and needs to get out of there. But and I right now try to post every hour, and I will do some from other people's posts, a lot of my old posts, and then some of my new posts. And that's a lot of posting, but for my audience, it works. And I feel like a lot of people don't tap into the tool that Facebook is, because they're not really paying attention to what works. And so I pay really close attention to what's working for other people. You know, those people have a lot of engagement. What's working? What are they doing? And a lot of times it's just a matter of, like, I changed from how I did my teasers to have all caps, some kind of headline in all caps, and then some kind of paragraph that was a teaser paragraph, and then click here to read the post or something like that to get to tell people exactly what to do, and then have the link, and then, you know, either the picture or an actual post link underneath, and changing things up all the time. So it's not you always do your posts the same way. I'm always changing things up and how I do the post. It sounds like a lot of work, but for me, I love strategy, and I love to try new things and watch what works and pay really close attention. And so look at your Google Analytics, look at what posts are resonating with your audience, pay close attention to the comments, pay close attention to the engagement numbers, and then keep a record of that. Preferably not up in your head like me, you know, spreadsheet or something, because then you can replicate it. Once you figure out what works, then you can replicate it. And a lot of people, I feel like they're just kind of throwing stuff out there instead of having a strategy. And it's better to just have one thing that you do and be strategic about it than to try to do all these things with no strategy in place.
Yeah, that's especially good today when there's like a million options and a million different platforms and so many things. But so note to self, everyone go stalk her page, because clearly it's working. So go see how she's doing all that, and then do your own version. So tell us, what is next for Crystal Paine and MoneySavingMom.com?
You know, the last 2 years, I feel like I was stretched far beyond I could have ever imagined or dreamed, and God was so faithful and always carried me through. But in December of this past year, I just really felt like He was saying to me, you know what? I just want you to have a quiet year. And so this year, I just really committed to simplify and streamline and only choose. We chose kind of 3 big goals for this year, and that was it. And we're saying no to most everything else. And or saying we can do that in 2016. So that's been really freeing for me. We want to release 2 courses this year. One, Makeover Your Mornings, is supposed to come out in April, and then one that goes along with my book that's coming out in November that is about, it's called Money Making Mom. And so we have a course that's going to go hopefully with that book as well. So those are kind of our big things that we're doing this year. And then we started doing a little bit, we're experimenting with doing our own events, our own Say Goodbye to Survival Mode events that go along with my book, Say Goodbye to Survival Mode. And so we're probably going to have about 10 to 15 in different cities that we're going to do this year, but those are just one-night events, and we go and we do the same thing. So so those are the few things that I'm doing, and then really trying to be very strategic about using my blogging time well, so that when I'm home, I'm all home.
Well, thank you so much for fitting us into all that. That didn't sound like a light, streamlined year to me. And when we come back, we're going to play a quick game of Crystal and Kelsey cutting coupons. Man, Crystal shared so much with us, so I want to pull out a few key takeaways. First, I hope you heard that she started trying to make a couple dollars a day off of her online platform, just like the rest of us. We like to think that successful people have some sort of fast track or secret to success. There's no secret, there's no shortcut. She started at the very bottom like everyone else. Next, get educated. I know this is going to be a common theme in all of my interviews because many successful people read, and they look outside their own industry. She said that she looked at what other people were doing since she couldn't quite find anyone like her. That is so important. Next, she focused on small wins for a long time. She built her community over 3 years of commenting and responding and growing and focusing and being strategic. 3 years of that community building. So focus on the small wins for a long time. And then consider creating products around your platform. After you've built your list, after you've built your community, go ahead and test with an ebook or a course. Consider diversifying, but within your same strengths, things that your audience want and need. And when you do, I love that she said that she posted to let sponsors know she was accepting sponsorships. You've got to tell people what you're doing. You've got to let people know that you're accepting sponsorships, that you're creating an ebook, that you're creating a course. So don't be bashful about what you're doing. And then, this is probably the most important, she clearly cares about her readers. Her readers come first. You know how I know that? She never talks about haters or online trolls. She kept using the phrase that she was disappointing her readers, which tells me that she deeply cares for them. She loves her readers and they come first, aside from her personal priorities, which leads us to the next one, which is that she pushes out all of the hype. She focuses within her community and what she's doing, and she's not looking at what other people are doing. She focuses on her family and then her readers, which is so wise. So lastly, she mentions multiple times that she loves strategy and that she tests a lot of different things. You don't get to the top of your field willy-nilly, you guys. You've got to be strategic. So be testing things, be trying things, be doing new things. And as you're doing that, I mean, she got down to changing which words in her posts were capitalized. That is some serious strategery, okay? So be testing and trying things. And I know that you can grow your platform like Crystal did. It's time for that extra dose of encouragement with a segment called If They Can Make It. Maybe you have a blog idea and people say it's too strange or too obscure. Well, I present to you Sweat and Spice, a blog that is entirely about sauce. That's right, in his first year, Nick Lindauer was able to sell a few dozen types of hot sauce, packaging them up by hand, and today he sells more than 1,000 products from some 300 manufacturers. As of 2006, his blog grossed $200,000. So if someone comes up to you saying your blog idea can't make it, just show them Sweat and Spice and say, if they can make it. Okay, this is Crystal and Kelsey cutting coupons. If I beat her with more coupons cut in 30 seconds, she's gonna give away an extra set of journal and book. So
I kind of just feel like I should let you win, you know, because I want you to have the journal and book. But
well, that would be kind of you.
I'm also kind of competitive.
See, I've had that feeling about you, that you would be. Okay, somebody else kind of count us down over there. Go. Oh man, I feel like I'm already failing. Your scissors are better than mine, clearly. Oh no. Guys, viewers, I'm failing you. I'm failing. Oh, here's the threefer. I don't know why I chose this game when we're money saving mom.
I need like a countdown timer so I can.
Oh, jeez. Well, this is pathetic, everyone. I'm sorry. 1, 2, 7.
9.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's why she is the money-saving mom. Be sure to check thepursuit.tv/apply to see if you won Crystal's amazing giveaway. And be sure to join us next week as I interview New York Times bestseller and the CEO of Story Brand, Donald Miller. Last week, Jeremy Cowart gave away an entire year's subscription to C University for free. A lot of people applied, but congratulations to Allison Meyer for winning last week's giveaway. I'm Kelsey Humphreys. Thank you so much for watching this episode of The Pursuit.